So that is one of those jobs that I would not want to do for a living. And I give credit to anybody that's out there doing this type of work for a living. Insulation is just one of them things that I do not care to do. I watch some of these videos and stuff, these guys on TV, and they got a suit up in those plastic suits, and they got their whole head covered and their face covered with a mask. When I worked in a steel mill, they had that kind of equipment there for us when we worked with the chemicals, and I hated it. I hated putting the stuff on. I hated taking the stuff off. I just hated working that way, you know? And so I would never, insulation is one of them jobs I would never do for a living. So I gotta let this fluff up a little bit. I did this side yesterday, and that seems pretty good right now. But this side here, because it's on that roll and it's compressed, it needs to puff up. And then once it puffs up, I'll straighten it out a little bit, and then we'll hang the plastic on there and stuff. Yeah, that should be good. And then I'm right at about the bottom of this board right here. So I will, from up above, I'll stick another layer of insulation down from the top. But right now we gotta let that fluff up, expand. And then we'll be ready to put the plastic on. Welcome to Amberg Acres. So we got the insulation in on this wall. We're gonna get the plastic up next, and we got the boards all cut, and then we'll be hanging boards hopefully this afternoon yet, or tomorrow, whenever we get to it. But so the plastic's just gonna get stapled on over here just to make a barrier, and we'll get that hung up. Alright, so I'm going to go get one of my first boards going here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start here in the middle where this post is. So the post is right about here. So I'm going to put that first one up right there, one of the wider ones. And I'm going to put a narrower one next to it, and then a wide one, and then a narrow one, and kind of do a stagger pattern, just like I did on the ceiling here, kind of a little bit. Now I noticed when we did the ceiling, I told you I wasn't really sure about those finish nails, shooting them in with that finish nailer. and some of them are coming loose. I can see them coming, hanging down here and stuff. As the wood is drying, it's kind of pulling on them a little bit. And yeah, there's a couple of spots there where it's hanging down. So I went and put one of them in here. I put some bigger regular finish nails in by hand with the hammer, and that seemed to help. So we'll see how this progresses as it goes. See, this one right here is loose. So we'll see how that progresses as it goes. It's going to be a rough sawn ceiling. So, and same with the walls. They're going to shrink and they're going to, look a little distorted, but that gives it the character that we're looking for. All right, let me go get the wood and we'll get started here. Okay, so I got my first 2 pieces cut. And I like the way that looks. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting the bad spots. So like this has a bad spot in it here, a crack, and there was a big knot there on the end of this log. And I'm putting that down on the bottom. And that way whatever goes in this room, now she's got a couple of desks. She's got 2 corner desks that are going to go in here. So I don't know how far those come one way or the other. Anyhow, she probably will have something along the walls here, like cabinets or even another workbench type thing, to work on, so that you won't see that down there. And that's why I'm putting it at the bottom, so that your focal point is at the top here, and that's the nicest part of the wood then, up there on top. All right, so we're just gonna nail this in quick. My compressor took a dump on me. The little I don't know what pressure line. It's a little 1/4-inch piece of aluminum tubing, broke off the other day, just out of the blue. So I don't know why that happened. It does vibrate a lot, so it probably it was time to break, All right, so we're just gonna drive in 1 nail. So I'm gonna drive in 1 ring shank at each one of these boards here, and that way when the wood expands or contracts or whatever it's going to do as it shrinks, because this is all green lumber, it won't crack as bad. If you put 2 nails in, it'll have a tendency to crack. That'll hold this stuff in place for quite a while before it shrinks, and it ain't going to go anywhere. So all right, I'm gonna go find my clamp and pull this together here a little bit. I tell you, that's deceiving when you're standing there looking at it. Now that you back up, it looks correct. Okay, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to make myself a stick, and then I can line these up better, and I don't have to sit here and screw around with this tape measure. Okay, so I made this stick. And all I have to do is, oh, I got it upside down. I have to mark that. So all I have to do is hold it up there, and then my nails will line up at each one of them. And that way it'll be nice and straight all the way across. These will probably get covered anyhow, because this is where I'm gonna put the slat, so I'm screwing into a nice heavy duty piece of wood there. And that way the weight, you'll have plenty of strength for the weight. So we're just gonna go cut a few more boards, cut them to length, and at least get this section nailed up here and get this finished. Well, either my concrete is going uphill or my ceiling is going downhill, one of the two. I got a feeling it's the concrete, because I noticed that on that wall over there. It kind of goes uphill a little bit at the end there. So I got to trim these last two boards off a little bit. They're not going to go in there. So what do you guys think? I think it looks pretty good. We'll put a little strip up there across the top. Cover our little crooked cuts and whatever. Yeah, I think that's looking really good. It's some nice wood. These bigger panels are white pine. This was red pine up here. So the one thing I noticed is the red pine seems to hold the nails a little better. The white pines must be a little softer, or I didn't really look it up on the chart, but especially when you're nailing into the end of the board with the ring shank nails, they don't seem to hold very well. So that's what I can tell you about the difference between the red and the white. White pine usually has the bigger knots in it, but it seems to have to me it has a little more character than the red. The red is just like a knotty pine. It has every so many inches, it has two knots that you always see. But yeah, I think that looks really good. So I'm happy with it. All right, I got a couple more pieces to put on in the corner there, and then we got to get more plastic hung up on this side, and we're moving right along. All right, last piece. I measured it at 15 inches, so I had to rip this one down to 15 inches to make it fit. So that turned out pretty good, actually. Awesome. All right, so I'm gonna get the rest of the plastic up on here, and that's probably gonna be it for today. I got some more boards to saw. Well, let me go show you these. The ones I cut out of that first log. I gotta clean them up a little bit. So let me go show you that. So I gotta clean these up. I gotta take them, put them back up on the saw, and cut this edge. I was gonna do it with the circle saw, but it's easier. Seeing I got the saw set up there, it's easier just to take them up there and just take that and cut that right off like that. And then probably a little bit on the bottom edge there too, because there's some bark here. And then that board will be a little narrower, but it'll be just fine. It has the same knot in the middle and the same look to it as all the other panels. They'll just be a little bit narrower, and I don't think anybody will even notice that they're a little narrower. So then these other ones, these all came out clean on both edges, but then you got this bad spot here. So I'm trying to cut most of that off, you know, and that's why I'm saying I'm putting a bad spot to the bottom. That's the bad spot there. So I'm cutting that off, and whatever's showing that crack there is down to the floor where it won't be seen, basically. All right, we got the plastic up here. Just gonna put the rest of these boards up, and then we should be able to start making a few cleats. So what I did, before I put that plastic up, I took a picture of this wall. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pencil in a few numbers so that we know, later on we know where these planks are that we're nailing into, and where the electrical wires are run. And that way, you know, 20 years from now when I'm explaining it to somebody, you know, that there's wires run behind here and whatever, that I'll have a picture I can just show them, you know. Just one of them things that I wanted to do, as long as I'm building most of this myself, so, you know, I'm going to document it so that it's saved. I don't know how many old houses I've worked on over the years, and even the electrical panels aren't marked, you know, and that drives me nuts. So I'm taking extra steps to make sure I got everything documented, and it looks good that somebody can understand it down the road, you know. One thing that I can tell you about the white pine compared to the red pine is there's a lot of pitch, a lot of sap coming out of it. These are actually sticky, you know. That's why I'm wearing gloves. And that all dries away, but when you're working with it gets all over your hands and everything else. Alright, got like 2 more pieces there yet. A bigger one, and then I got a rip one probably. Well guys, the nice thing about doing it yourself is you can do it however you want, you know? You don't have to follow anybody else's script. I think this turned out great. I'm gonna quit for today. I missed lunch. So it's well past lunch now. So I'm gonna go feed my bird, and I'm gonna clean up a little bit here, and then tomorrow I will make the cleats and put them on there, and then this wall will be finished. So then hopefully we can get this other wall by the window here done, and then that way she can start putting her stuff in here and getting her desks figured out, what she's doing with her desks and all that type of stuff. So, all right, we'll catch you tomorrow. Hey, welcome back. So I have my cleats made up. I cut them at 13 feet. This wall from inside to inside is 17 feet. So if I evenly space it, that would leave 2 feet on each end where you're not going to be able to hang anything, and that's fine. I did it that way because my boards are right around 14 feet, and when you cut a little bit off, they're going to be less than 14. So I just went with 13 feet. And we're going to hang them up, and I got to get some screws tomorrow. We're going to Marinette, so I got to stop at Menards and get some screws. And then they'll go, a longer screw will go through into that 2x6 that's behind here, and that'll hold this all together. That'll hold the big strip on better by having it screwed in that far. But for those of you that don't know what a cleat wall is, I made up a little sample here. So this big piece that I got here, the big crooked piece, that represents your wall board here, okay? So then the 13-foot long piece is going to look like, let me get rid of this one I got in my other hand here. The 13-foot long piece is going to look like this, with the bevel going back towards the wall, okay? So that's going to get bolted on, screwed on, right there like that there, okay? Then whatever you want to hang, say you want to make a bracket and put a bunch of screwdrivers in it, okay? A piece of wood, and put a bunch of screwdrivers so they're hanging right here above your bench. So now you put the other one on the opposite way, and you attach it to the bracket you made for your screwdrivers or your drills or whatever you can think of to hang, okay? And then you're going to take that and you're just going to hang it on there just like that there. And that is really solid. That is really a strong joint right there. And then say down the road you add some stuff, you get something else you want to hang up, you can move this. You know, wherever you want to go, you can move it, all right? So that's what a cleat wall is. And the reason I'm doing that is because I got all this wood, you know, that I have extra pieces laying around. From doing the ceiling, I got leftovers. From doing the floors, I got leftovers. So this is what we're gonna use this stuff up to make these. And like I say, we're gonna do one wall in each room. So I have 3 pieces cut. So one of them is gonna go right here where the nails are to cover the nails, right? It's gonna go on there like that. And then I'm probably gonna put one a little bit above it, okay? And a little bit below it. So that it's right there above the outlets. And I'm not gonna do nothing with the lower one here because I don't know what she has planned for benches and stuff. I don't know if she's gonna be sitting all the time or she's gonna want stand-up benches. So if a stand-up bench, the bench would be right there, you know? That's how high the bench would be. So you wouldn't have a cleat there, you would just have the 3 above it, okay? I hope that makes sense. So I cut 3, and we'll get 3 attached once I get the screws I want. I'm trying to look for something more. I mean, this one here you won't see. This one here you won't see because that would be screwed into the back of whatever you made. But this one here you would see, okay? So I'm thinking like a decorative, more of a pan head or something that I can just sink in so it's still flush, but it'll look nice, and then space them equally like every 12 inches or something. And that's my plan. So I will do this one first where the nails are and make that one perfectly straight, and then measure up, you know, whatever it ends up being. And then you'll have 3 cleats there, and you can hang all kinds of stuff, you know, all her little tools and all that stuff. And then this end wall down here, we picked up some pegboard. I haven't showed you that yet. So we picked up this pegboard. This stuff is like brand new. I think we paid $5 a sheet for it. Yeah, $5 a sheet the guy wanted. You look this up, this is probably like 15 or 20 on at Menards to buy this same size sheet. So this came out of, I believe he told me it was the Advanced Auto Parts up there in Iron Mountain, Michigan. And that's where he got it from. Then he took what he needed and then he was selling the rest. So we got this, and that's gonna go, let me turn the camera here. So basically that's gonna go up next to the window on both sides of the window and finish that wall out. And then I'll have to do something on the bottom. I don't know yet what I'm gonna do on the bottom, but that's where that old farmhouse wood might come in. Maybe I could do, you know, put this panel up above and then down here do like a wainscoting with that old farmhouse wood and cut them into shorter pieces. Something like that. That might be a way to go there. So yeah, that's our next step. So when I get the screws, I will get back to this and I will show you what it looks like once it's done. All right, guys. So I picked up some screws yesterday. These are considered a cabinet screw. They're very narrow here, or thin, so they'll suck in a little bit and that'll make that flush so it won't be protruding. These are 3 inches long, so that'll go, I have a 3/4 and then a 3/4 is 1.5 inches, and then the 1.5 inch board that's on the wall, so that gives me 3 inches of holding power. Then I got some shorter ones. If the one up here ends up just on the planks that I put up, then I'll use the shorter ones and it won't stick through so far. But it'll work, it'll hold us the same. I got enough screws in there. I got a screw every 9 and something inches it came out to. I think it's 9 3/4. So there's plenty of holding power there for what we're gonna be hanging on there. So let's get this piece up. I put a mark here at my 24 inches, and I have a little block down there on that end to hold the other end up, hopefully. So I pre-drilled this board, laid it out, and then I stacked 3 of them on top of each other, and I drilled through all 3 at the same time. And then I am just eyeballing it at the center of my nail. Beautiful. It's perfect. All right, let's set the level on there. This end's got to go up a little. And none of this has to be perfect. It has to be, to me, as long as it looks good to the eye, you know, that's good enough. So it sags just a little bit, but I'm here by myself. I don't have an extra hand, so it's going to be good enough. It's pretty close to being level. So I'm just going to zing the rest of these screws in. Okay, so there is 17 screws in that board. That is not going anywhere. And it's 3 inches thick that it's holding on. So this is what I'm talking about for hanging stuff. So this is just like a file thing. She puts her papers different types of paper in here, and just like that. Now, depending on where I put, if I put another cleat here right above these electrical outlets, okay, which that's what I'm thinking of doing. That will support this back here. So it all depends what you're hanging. You know, if you're hanging something longer like that, you might have to put a block, a 3/4 inch block, just to support it. You know, so it's not bending. You know, and that's just the way it is. Or something really heavy, you might have to put another block in there to support it. But my plan is to put another cleat right here, right above these outlets, and then one right here. That should be good for her to hang a bunch of stuff, and then later on, if she doesn't put work tables here or whatever she's doing, then I can add more cleats below the outlets too if I need to. And my room will probably be the same thing because I intend on using all that oak I cut a while ago, those big 2-inch thick slabs. That's what I intend on using, is to make tables here along the outside. For working on and pounding on and doing whatever I'm building, you know, to have work area to set stuff on and work. Because right now, the way I'm set up, I have one table in the garage over there that I have everything piled on, that I'm working on my chainsaws. I'm sharpening bandsaw blades on it. I just got it all kind of pushed to one corner, and I'm working on the other half of it. And I'm trying to alleviate some of that once I get these rooms done, so that I have a lot more tabletop or workbench area to work on stuff. If I have the chainsaw ripped apart somewhere, it can just sit there until I get parts for it, you know? That's what I'm trying to make things a little better around here than what I've been working with the last 2 years now. So hopefully you get the idea. I'm gonna hang up these other two. The other two I have cut, and then I'll show you it when I'm done here. All right, well, there you go. So now having that other piece of wood down here, that makes that a lot more solid. That's gonna be it for today. So if you like these videos, you know, give me a thumbs up, make sure you subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Why don't you come and get it? Come on, right here. Yeah, that a guy. There you go. Go ahead. All right. Here you go. Here's your dish. You make it look like you're hungry.